are well up. They're on 18, and that is the big four-stroke Suzuki, who they go so very well at Cadwell. Can they use the power? Steve Parrish, that big four-stroke, will it come into its own here at Mallory?
Well, yes, it could easily do. Coming out of the slow corners, it's got a lot of grunt, a lot of torque, and it could chug its way out there. But it's also got a lot of weight, which you don't need, flicking it through Gerrards and the S's. So we're going to have to see. But he's qualified very well. He's in third position, albeit that a couple of seconds off of Steve Webster. But that's perfectly understandable with that man at the helm.
The man in the middle of the row, completing the front row, Barry Brindley and Graham Rose, the other Grand Prix regular, as Steve Webster again gets a relatively slow start. But Rob Fisher and Trevor Crone are away in the lead on the Suzuki. Number 12, Rob Fisher, Trevor Crone, the big four-stroke 1100cc Suzuki. Can he capitalise on this? He will know the talent of Steve Webster. He'll know the way that Webster's Krauser is capable of winding everyone in. And Webster is not in the leading three. In fact, he is fourth. Steve Webster is fourth, coming round to complete the first lap. This is going to be an interesting one for him, because Mallory is not that easy to pass.
No, very much so, especially with a sidecar outfit through these tight corners, the hairpin and the bus stop chicane. There just isn't physically room for two outfits, as you can see as they filter their way through there. Someone just got a bumpy ride, it was Brindley. But the big four-stroke Suzuki is powering away there, and it has a lot of power. You saw as it went off the line, but Brindley coming through now into second. Now he's taken the lead as he nipped through on the inside, so the 500 two-stroke Yamaha was able to outgun the big four-stroke, but he's going to be sticking in his wheel tracks.
Barry Brindley, Graham Rose, number 11 from Doncaster, sponsored by Fowlers. They are past the Suzuki. Fowlers, of course, the sponsors of the legendary Jock Taylor, who regrettably lost his life in 1981, but Taylor was definitely one of the brighter sidecar forces. Brindley has carried that tradition on, as indeed has Steve Webster, with Tony Hewitt. Brindley leading from Crone. Still Robert Fisher and Trevor Crone. It's now Webster in fourth place. Webster up to fourth. The third place man is number 2, and that is Gary Thomas and Tony Strevens. Tony Strevens, the passenger of Ray Gardner. Ray Gardner not here today. Tony Strevens has filled the breach and is lying in third place, in the hot seat, as it were, holding down the third wheel of Gary Thomas.
I think Steve Webster's going to have to keep his eye on Mr. Brindley, who's charging into a tremendous lead here at the moment. It's all very well taking his time getting the tyres warmed up and everything, but if that lead gets too great, he won't be able to pull it back. So he's now going to pass the big four-stroke Suzuki of Fisher and Crone and slot into second place, but I don't think he'll do it here, because as I said, he's got a long... Yes, he can. What a masterful piece of overtaking. Straight from the outside, but he cuts his way in there and right into second spot.
Well, he's up to second, as you say. Barry Brindley and Graham Rose are over the start-finish line now. Webster's over the line now, so the gap is something like 1.8 seconds. That's all it is. Webster in second. Fisher and Crone, Rob Fisher, up from the northeast, the home of from where all the sidecar motocrossers come, the northeast, Newcastle, County Durham. That's where Rob Fisher comes from. He's lying in third place. Gary Thomas, Tony Strevens are in fourth. Kenny Howell, Steve Pointer in fifth. They won the European round at Donington last weekend, and they are lying in joint fifth place in the title chase at the moment. Kenny Howell's on 14 points. 3 times world champion Steve Webster and Tony Hewitt. 3 times the championship has been won consecutively before by an Englishman. That was Eric Oliver, 1949, 1950 and 1951. Oliver then went on to win a 4th time some 2 years later. But the man who has won it 6 times in all and 4 times consecutively, the great and legendary Max Deubel from Switzerland, that is the record which Steve Webster has now set himself to beat for the 1990 season. So 4 wins in a row will make him equal with Deubel. Brindley in the lead, Webster and Hewitt in second, Fisher Crone in third. And still it is Thomas and Tony Strevens from Orpington in Kent on the LCR Yamaha in 4th place.
Well, you can see the big heavy 4-stroke coming through there, noticeably not as agile as the smaller 2-strokes. takes a wider line and a big bump across the curb, but it looks pretty bumpy through that chicane for the passenger. He gets flown into the air, but now we've got a bit of a dice here for third position. Third, fourth and fifth position now is the Suzuki. The big Suzuki's coming under threat.
Lying there in fifth place, Kenny Howells and Steve Pointer on the distinctive green outfit. So this the battle for third, fourth and fifth place. Kenny Howells, the Euro Championship winner from last week, is now using that experience and the form he's hit. Really flying here at Mallory Park. He's in fifth place, looking at the inside of Gary Thomas at the hairpin, but there's no way through. Gary Thomas takes the tight line. The big Suzuki's holding everybody up now. It's not as nimble as Steve Parrish said through the chicane, but they are working very hard indeed. In Cumbria, Robert Fisher and Trevor on the Suzuki. Right, the challenges of Gary Thomas, and still they're lurking in fifth place. Ever watchful. Kenny Howells, Steve Pointer. This the battle for the win, or for the race lead. Barry Brindley, Graham Rose, number 11 on the LCR Yamaha, staying tight on the inside. Steve Webster, Tony Hewitt flick through onto the inside just to show their front end to Brindley. Brindley must be absolutely sick and tired of this remorseless challenge, always coming from the back and always at half distance.
Yes, he seems to be always the bridesmaid, never the bride, because he seems to have this race sewn up, or what looks like to be sewn up on the early stages, and Steve Webster just charges through, and he's now shadowing him, and I'm sure he's got a bit in hand. The way he lapped in practice, which was quite incredible, under the outright lap record for a solo machine, was just phenomenal. But he's going to have a look down the inside. I think if he's going to do it anywhere, it will probably be down that long Stevie straight as they come into the S's there. But he's just weighing up Mr. Brindley at the moment, seeing which line he wants, and he'll take the other one.
Lining up the hairpin on the inside. Steve Webster goes very wide so that he can exit on the tight line, and they are almost alongside, but no, he showed the front end again to Barry Brindley out of the hairpin, heading towards the chicane. Down through the devil's elbow, right up through the gearbox, flat out along here. The four-cylinder water-cooled machines absolutely peaking as they go into Gerrard's. Round the long, sweeping right-hander. The G-forces here threatening to throw the passenger off the left-hand side of the machine. The handhold on the right-hand side coming in for a great deal of use indeed. Hewitt tucked down behind Webster. Rose tucked down behind Brindley. But no way through. Still Steve Webster trying. A battle royal again between these two. We've seen it before this season. We're seeing it again here at Mallory. The same tactic. Steve Webster goes wide, cuts across, exiting on the tight line, and he is almost there, but not quite. Barry Brindley still has the power. That's where the race will be decided.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think there's quite enough room. I think Steve Webster's just testing. He's just seeing if he can get the drive, get up the inside. But if he doesn't quite make it now, you can see he's going for the inside. He's got more power there than Brindley. Oh, nice and cleanly through on the inside, but that's going to be a lot safer place than trying to do it at the hairpin.
The new race leader, Steve Webster and Tony Hewitt, 3 times world champion, 1987, 88 and 89. Brindley now down to second, but fighting back on the inside line. Through he goes. Barry Brindley, Graham Rose back into the lead again at the Lake S's. So Brindley and Rose, scintillating three-wheel action. These three-wheel racing cars, because that's what they are really. They have the same monocoque chassis, riveted and arrowdited together.
Well, it looks pretty uncomfortable for the passenger. That didn't enough room to cut through there, bouncing over the curve. And now Brindley's beginning to pull away. He's stretching out a bit of a lead, but Webster's back on. He's undoubtedly got more speed as they come down the straight there into Gerrard's corner. Thomas is past Fisher and got into third position.
Webster Hewitt still in second, chasing Brindley and Rose, and coming alongside again Steve Webster and Tony Hewitt. They are there. Barry Brindley put the brakes on. Webster left his braking a split second later, and you could see exactly what difference that made. Webster just shot ahead. They are coming up again to the chicane, and on the inside again, Barry Brindley, Graham Rose. These two are really having a ding-dong. They exit side by side towards the chicane. The wheel flicking over the curb in the air, bumping over. Remember, there's no suspension. Bruised bottoms all round for the sidecar passengers at Mallory Park. Out of the Devil's Elbow, down the straight on lap 12.
Again, Webster's got the power. He's having another look as they come into Gerard's corner. Incredible the way he can just flick the machine on the inside. He seems to be able to keep a much tighter line than Brindley, which indicates he's got a bit left in hand. He can keep the machine tucked in on the inside. As he comes down the straightaway here now, he gets in the slipstream. He'll probably pull out just before they break for the S's. No, he's left it this time, but undoubtedly he's got something left in reserve for those last few laps.
Further down the field, Kenny Howells is also by Rob Fisher, so Kenny Howells is now moving up to try and do something about his points situation. Fisher is lying second in the championship on 18. Barry Brindley is also joint second on 18. So these two in your picture now, Brindley and Webster, are only separated by 2 points in the championship table. They will get 10 for a win, 9 for second, and Webster is on for that 10 at the moment. He has expressed publicly that he would dearly love to add the Shell Oil Super Cup sidecar trophy to his tally this year. What more could he do than just to crown the World Championship title with the domestic championship as well? This is round 4, there is one more round to go. So there is a mathematical possibility that Brindley can do this, and he is fighting back. He intends to put his mark on it today, and he goes the long way round and does it. Steve Parrish, this is superb racing.
Yeah, terrific. He actually left his brakes a lot later at that point to Steve Webster and was able to come in faster to the corner around the outside and just get on the power. I don't know if Steve Webster has any problems on the braking there. He seems to be making all his time up down the straight here into Gerrard's. He's going for the inside again, and he's taken it, but he loses out the hairpin.
Leading Barry Brindley now, Steve Webster, Tony Hewitt. 2/3 of the race gone. Brindley and Rose in second, but still giving the world champion something to think about at Mallory. A very quick lap here. It is only 1.37 miles. They get round in 50 seconds, an unbelievably fast time. Barry Brindley sneaks through again, and he's there. Webster gets it back again. So it's really cat and mouse. Down goes the head of Tony Hewitt. Down goes the head of Graham Rose. They are in each other's footsteps down the finishing straight, over the line. Up come the heads towards Gerrard's. Across goes the hand, the passenger, onto the rear wheel of the machine to get the back end down, get it gripping, make sure the driver has minimum left-hand pull when he puts the power on, because if the passenger is too sidecar heavy, when he gets the power on, the whole thing will drag left and will not go in a straight line. But straight line is the name of the game at the moment, and straight through goes Brindley. That is the 6th time he has been in the lead, the 6th time he has gone past Webster. Now, superb stuff. Webster still staying on that very tight line. Brindley sweeping wide, but beating him to the bus stop, all the way to the flag.
Yeah, well, Steve Webster just passed coming out the hairpin the lap previously where I said he couldn't, so he just proved me totally wrong, because the man has just so much experience. He was able to keep a tight line, get the clutch home, because again, these machines have very high first gears. They'll be slipping the clutch in first gear, revving the engines and feeding it in nice and gently, not too hard, otherwise it wheel spins too much and burns the tyres out. I'm fairly confident that Steve Webster has a bit in hand, but Brindley's going extremely well, and the lap times are showing that.
Rob Fisher and Trevor Crone now down to 5th place, and on the leaderboard now, Eddie Wright and Ian Marchant up to 6th. Eddie Wright from Leeds is in 6th place, but these two, the wheels pawing the air, exiting the left-hander from the Lake S's. Under power, the passengers preparing themselves for the right-hander, maybe being just a little bit too keen to get away from the left. The wheel flicks the air, but the driver has it all under control. If he can get the power on and get the rear wheel sliding, it will bring the sidecar wheel down again. That is what sidecar racing is all about. Webster is on the inside, approaching Gerrard's. He is through again. Brindley in 2nd place again. The crowd here absolutely thrilled by this, because they have a different leader chopping and changing every lap.
Yeah, so again, Brindley's riding the slipstream of Steve Webster. He's probably going to have a go if he can at the inside of the hairpin. That's his best place. He's having a look, and he'll know he's not. He's going on the outside line. Steve Webster's left his braking later. You can see the machine twitching and bucking and weaving as it goes into the corner. There's no chance of Brindley passing at this point. He's going to have to wait till they get back round to Gerrard's if he's going to have another crack at it.
The rest of the field streaming on their way. They are now coming up behind tail enders to lap. You can see how much the bikes, or rather the whole outfit, is weaving and bobbing all over the circuit under braking. Steve Webster, Barry Brindley, just look at the convoy of tail enders ahead of them. This will be exciting when we come up to the Lake Esses. It will be even more exciting when we come up to the hairpin. A puff of smoke there under braking. Someone locked the rear wheel up. There'll be a flat spot there for somebody. Webster scything his way through. He's on the wide line, but has everything beautifully under control. Tony Hewitt's knee resting on the front end of the machine they have just overtaken, and that machine, as they exit the Devil's Elbow, is number 29, but Brindley has gone past number 29 as well. The tail enders well and truly sorted out.
Yeah, Steve Webster used his experience, and he undoubtedly made up time through the back marker. He was able to nip left, nip right, cut his way through there, and also do it very safely. So that's given him an advantage now, which I think he will most likely hold till the finish. They're coming up to the last lap when they come round to the start and finish.
On his penultimate lap, Steve Webster, Tony Hewitt, Barry Brindley, Graham Rose still in second. This, the race leader, a superb display from Webster and Hewitt. They've demonstrated beyond all doubt that they are the best in the world. They are demonstrating beyond all doubt that they are certainly the best at short circuit racing as well. Steve Webster said he wasn't, or he found it hard becoming used to the short circuits after the Grand Prix. He said that the short circuits are bumpy, and certainly it does appear to be bumpy here. More tail enders ahead of them. There's Brindley and Rose going past another back marker.
I think the biggest problem for a lot of the Grand Prix riders is setting the machines up. They're so used to having a 2-hour session or 4 half-hour sessions to get the machines working to their optimum, and they come to some of the short circuit meetings without all the practice time available. It's very difficult, but these two gentlemen have obviously got their records right. They've written down what the settings are, set the machine accordingly, and it's worked superbly here today.
Checkered flag. Readied now for Steve Webster, exiting the Devil's Elbow. Webster across the line. Brindley was very much in touch, closer than we've seen him this season with Steve Webster. Tony Hewitt, a wave to the crowd. 20 laps completed in record time. Round 4 falls to Webster, moves him ahead even further in the points tally. He is determined to make this Shell Oil Super Cup his own. Circling round on the slowing down lap. Webster at the back end of the circuit as the caption goes up telling you the positions. Webster, Hewitt, Brindley, Rose. Kenny Howell, Steve Pointer fought through to third. That was good news. Rob Fisher, Trevor Crone down to fourth. And Gary Thomas, Tony Strevens, they had a good first few laps, but they could do no better than